The Canadian government recently updated its U.S. travel advisory, warning residents they may face scrutiny from border guards and the possibility of detention if denied entry. The Canadian Association of University Teachers released updated travel advice last week, warning its members against non-essential travel to the United States due to the political landscape created by President Donald Trump's administration and reports of some Canadians encountering difficulties crossing the border. But if you must travel to the U.S., there are things you should consider and do before you go. Joining us now from CAA Manitoba is Susan Postma. Good morning, Susan.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Now, when you're traveling by air, it was common for the air flight attendants to pass out some sheets that you'd fill out.
Yes.
But when you're driving across the border, there's none of that happening, and things have changed there. Tell us what you're hearing from travelers when they're driving into the U.S.
Yeah, things have changed. The U.S. border agents have always asked about where are you going, how long you're going to be there, what purpose for your visit, but they will and can look more robustly now at things such as your cell phone or at your laptop. They may look at text messages or photos. They may ask other questions about, do you have sufficient funds to cover the cost of your trip? They may ask those type of questions. So it's really about being prepared to know what you need and perhaps what they might ask, so that you just feel comfortable as best as possible and confident to sort of know in advance possibly what to expect. Because it is possibly a little different than if you crossed the border a year ago or 2 years ago by car.
So have you heard from clients that have encountered some problems?
We have not directly heard from them, but we certainly know and have heard anecdotally from others about just different questions that might have been asked. They engage a bit more. So we really want people to feel prepared as best as possible and not be caught unaware that they may be asked to have their phone looked at.
So you recommend with your phone to put it on airplane mode?
You can. If you're approaching the border, that's a suggestion. Obviously, they can make that change. But if you want to avoid maybe automatic downloads or automatic syncing, that's one avenue. Another recommendation is maybe if you don't take as much as you used to, perhaps if you only need your cell phone, maybe choose not to take your laptop or a tablet, if that's an option for you. Maybe minimize what you're taking, if maybe only what's essential to take that.
Maybe delete some text that might be problematic?
Delete some text, do some cleanup, save pictures that you really don't, want to have shared, or just things. It's just, if there's ever a good time to maybe clean up your phone, this might be a well time before you cross the border.
Okay, what else are you telling people to do?
A recent change, of course, that came out this year is if you're staying longer than 30 days, you really have to register. So you do have to go and register for an I-9-4 form. Our recommendation that we use ourselves is really access Global Affairs. They have the links to all of that. They have all of the information that you'll need. They'll have travel advisories there. They'll have the link to the form. So 30 days or longer. Ideally, do that before you're leaving. You can do it at the border. That could, of course, make that a longer passing. So that is a key requirement. Another requirement came out last August. If you're traveling with a pet, new requirements there as well. You can access that through Global Affairs. They need to be 6 months of age older. They have to be microchipped. So again, it's not as straightforward and as simple. There are things that are requirements now that you need to be able to have taken care of before you drive across the border.
Are you hearing from clients that are just canceling outright their trips?
Yeah, we have had some who have chosen not to go for a variety of reasons. Some are just watching and waiting. Some have just chosen it's not the right time for them to go. We do have some that go for business. They may have family down there, so there still are people going. But yes, we have certainly seen some cancellation as well.
Any advice for people who are heading out other than what you've just mentioned?
I think my advice remains really, truly resource Global Affairs. Of course, if you're leaving the province, going to the States, have travel insurance. That's a key recommendation. We recommend that even if you're leaving the province, but certainly travel medical at the least. Ensure that your documentation's in order. 6 months is ideally to start looking at your passport expiry. Some of those 5 and 10 year passports sneak up on you for renewal. So, it's not required, but it's our best practice to have a passport valid 6 months past your travel date. Just a best practice. So really take a look at what your documentation looks like.
Susan, thanks for the tips.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me again.
Anytime.